You arrived tonight still holding a conversation that ended before you knew it was ending. The hand that was lifted in goodbye is still slightly raised, somewhere inside you, waiting for the sentence that never came. There is nothing to learn here and nothing to fix. Only a quiet place to set it down for a while. The coat is still hung by the door. The chair is still angled the way someone left it. None of that has to change to let you rest. Somewhere outside, the night has already gone soft and dark, the way your shoulders are about to. The room around you has lowered its voice. The hour has agreed to be slow. And whatever you carried in here, it does not need to be carried any further than this pillow. The room is quieter now than it was a moment ago, and that is enough. Welcome back to Starlit. Let the voice be the only thing left awake. Let the lamp inside the lamp dim. Let the corners of the room go a little vague. You are not asked to follow anything. You are not asked to be ready. There is a chair drawn up beside you, and someone sitting in it, and that is all the company this hour needs. There is a feeling that does not always have a name, and you may have brought it with you to bed. It is the feeling of a conversation that ended without telling you it was ending. A door that swung closed while you were looking at something else. A voice that said goodbye in such an ordinary way that you mistook it for a hello to the next moment. The body knows. The body keeps a small light on for that voice. The body keeps the kettle warm. The body keeps the chair where it was, just in case. Even when the mind has long since understood, the body still listens, just a little, for the footsteps coming back up the path. You do not have to keep listening tonight, not in the way you have been. The conversation does not need you to hold its end open any longer. The sentence that never finished is allowed to rest, the same way you are allowed to rest. It is not abandoned. It is not unloved. It is simply set down, here on the edge of the bed, like a coat you have been wearing all day and finally take off. There is a coat by the door. Maybe in your house, maybe only in this room we are building together with the voice. It is hung over the back of a chair, the sleeves still soft with the shape of an arm. The shoulders of the coat remember someone. The cuff is turned up the way it always was, and the door it stood next to is neither open nor fully shut. It is the kind of half shut that a draft can move through, a door that was closed in a hurry, or closed without anyone meaning it to be the last closing. The mind, looking at that door, can spend years writing the sentence it thinks should have been said. The body, looking at that door, can spend years tightening at the hinge. But the door is only a door. The coat is only a coat. They have been waiting for nothing, really. They have only been keeping the shape of a moment that has already gone soft at its edges, the way all moments eventually go soft. You do not have to close the door tonight. You do not have to take down the coat. There is nothing in this hour that asks you to finish what was never yours to finish. The voice will stay with the coat and the door for a while. You can let your eyes close. You can let the weight of your head meet the pillow without negotiating with it. The pillow is not asking anything of you either. None of these things are. The breath, somewhere inside you, may already be finding a slightly slower path. The chest may be moving a little less high than it was. The belly, under the blanket, may be inviting more of the breath down into itself. None of that has to be checked. None of that has to be measured. The body has its own quiet wisdom about how to come down off the day, and tonight you might let it have the wheel. There is a particular kind of conversation that never ask permission to be the last one, the ones that sound like every other Tuesday, the ones about the small thing, the practical thing, the thing that was so plain it could not possibly have been important. The keys on the counter, the way the kettle clicked off, the brief note about the weather, a laugh that did not even fully finish before the door began to close. And then, somewhere later, you realized that was the last one. That was the goodbye, dressed in the clothes of an ordinary sentence. It is a strange ache, that one. It does not look like grief from the outside. It does not announce itself the way the louder goodbyes do. It is quieter, more domestic. It walks around the house in your slippers. It sits at the table in the empty chair. It is the kind of ache that lives in the body, in the small monitoring beneath your ribs, in the way you sometimes still half turn at the sound of a door, sure that the next sentence is about to arrive. We are not made to know in advance which words will be the last words. Nobody is. The minds we have were not built for that kind of foresight, and perhaps that is its own quiet kindness. If we knew, we would never let any sentence be ordinary. Every conversation would be a ceremony, and we would all be exhausted by Tuesday morning. So instead, we live with the strange truth that some goodbyes look exactly like nothing in particular until afterward. The body, hearing this, may already be loosening at the jaw. The jaw is often the first to know. It has been holding the unfinished sentence for a long time, somewhere between the molars and the breath. There is nothing it has to say now. There is no word it needs to form. The teeth can part very gently inside the closed mouth. The tongue can rest somewhere lower than it was. And the breath, which had been living up high in the chest, can begin to slip down into the belly, the way water finds the lowest part of a stone. You may already be letting your shoulders soften by the smallest amount without having decided to. That is allowed. That is welcome. The shoulders, like the jaw, have been on a long, quiet shift. They have been listening for the door. They can step off that shift for a while. The voice is here. The chair is here. The night is here, and the night does not need your shoulders to stay tight to keep itself turning. There is something in the body that learned a long time ago to stay alert for a return, not anxiously, not loudly, just slightly. A small pilot light in the chest, kept on for the sound of a key in the lock, the brush of a coat on the hallway wall, the click of a familiar shoe on the floor. The body has been faithful to that light for longer than you may have noticed. It has been tending it without being asked, the way the body tends so many things. Your blood, your breath, the slow turn of your eyes toward whatever is moving. That pilot light has not done anything wrong. It is not a flaw. It is not a thing to fix. It is the body being loyal to someone it loved. And the body does not always know when a goodbye has happened, because nobody told it. The mind got the message in the kitchen, in the phone call, in the half-second of silence at the end of the line. But the body lives in a slower country, and word travels there at the pace of years. So if some part of you, even tonight, is still listening for a step on the porch, that is not a failure. That is the body being kind, in the only way it knows how. It can keep listening, gently, and you can still let your eyes grow heavy. The two things are allowed to happen at once. You can rest while the body finishes its slow understanding. There is, in this listening, a kind of devotion the mind rarely credits. The body is not being foolish. The body is being faithful. And faithfulness is one of the quietest forms of love we have. It is the form that does not announce itself. It is the form that just keeps doing the small daily work of remembering, even when the one it remembers is no longer in the room. The body has been faithful in this small, steady way, and faithfulness is allowed to rest as much as anything else. The mind sometimes scolds the body for being slow. The mind has its long lists of what should already be understood, what should already be settled, what should already be put down. But the body has never lived in the mind's country. The body lives in a country with a slower clock, where things take the time they take, and there is no point in shouting at a season for being a season. The body will arrive in its own time at the places the mind has been standing for years. The body is allowed that. We can let the body be slow tonight. We can let the body take whatever years it needs. There is a small kindness in this. The kindness of not asking the body to be on the mind's schedule. The kindness of letting the chest, the throat, the place behind the eyes, the small soft hinge where the shoulders meet the neck, all of them be exactly as far along in their understanding as they are. None of them is behind. None of them is failing. They are walking the slow, long path that bodies walk, in the slow, long country that bodies live in. The path will end where it ends. You do not have to know when. There is also a kind of grief that does not look like grief. It looks like distraction. It looks like trouble sleeping. It looks like a small hum of attention that never quite turns off. It looks like the way the eyes drift sometimes toward a place by the door where someone used to stand. It looks like a moment in the kitchen where the hand reaches for 2 cups instead of 1. None of these are mistakes. They are the soft, small evidence that the body was paying close attention all along and is still, in its own slow way, working through what it noticed. There is a particular kind of conversation that never asked permission to be the last one. And perhaps the goodbye was never absent. Perhaps it was only folded inside something too plain to notice. A poet whose name you may know, Rilke, wrote once in his quiet, careful way about how the things we love are always being lifted out of us in small, unspectacular motions, and how the heart practices farewells more often than it realizes, in the brushing of a hand, in the closing of a book, in the cooling of tea in a cup we have just set down. He did not say it loudly. He never said anything loudly. He suggested it, the way certain truths can only be suggested, in sentences that walk softly because the floors of the heart are old. What he was pointing at, in his way, was something like this, that the goodbye was not missing from the ordinary words. It was inside them. Every sentence we say to anyone we love is already, very quietly, a small farewell, because every sentence ends, and every ending is a tiny rehearsal for the larger one. We do not feel this in the moment. We are not meant to. If we did, we could not speak at all. We would only sit across from each other in a kind of luminous grief, unable to ask each other to pass the salt. but the goodbyes were there. They were always there, tucked inside the ordinary sentences, folded into the ordinary days. The last conversation was made of the same fabric as the second to last and the third to last, and that is not a cruelty. That is, in its own strange way, a mercy. The last words you exchanged were not nothing. They were everything you had ever exchanged, all the way back, gathered into a final shape that looked like nothing in particular because it was made of all of it. Rilke also wrote, somewhere in those same patient pages, that we are the bees of the invisible, that we gather without realizing the small honey of moments we did not even know we were saving. The look across the room, the way a hand moved through air, the sound of a name said in a kitchen, the slow afternoon of a Sunday that felt like nothing in particular. All of that gathered, all of that kept. And the keeping is not done by the mind, which forgets so much. The keeping is done somewhere lower, somewhere quieter in the body's slow honeycomb of memory. When the last conversation ended in ordinary clothes, the honeycomb was already full. It had been filling for as long as you knew each other. The last sentence was only the small wax cap on a cell that was already heavy with everything that came before. That cap looks plain from the outside. From the inside, it holds everything. The chest may already be softening hearing that. It is allowed to. The chest has been holding the shape of a sentence that did not get to end. It is allowed to let that shape go vague. The shape was never the love. The shape was only the container. The love is somewhere underneath, quieter, harder to lose than the sentence was. There is an image, almost too plain to be an image, a sentence with its final word missing. Not dramatic, not jagged, just a small absence at the end of a line where another word would have sat. And the strange truth is that the sentence still says what it was always going to say. The meaning does not depend on the last word. The meaning was already there in the breath before it, in the look across the table, in the way the hand reached for the cup. If you have been waiting for the final word somewhere in the back of your mind to come and complete the sentence, the voice will not ask you to stop waiting. The voice will only say that you can rest while you wait. The waiting can happen on its own. You do not have to supervise it. The body has been supervising it long enough. The eyes may close fully now, if they have not already, or they may stay half open, watching the dim ceiling, letting whatever light is left in the room do its slow, soft work. Either is fine, either is welcome. There is nothing in this hour that depends on whether your eyes are open or shut. The voice will stay either way. The chair will stay either way. We were talking about the ordinary words, about how the last sentence was so plain it almost did not register. There is, hidden inside that plainness, a strange mercy. If the last words had been dramatic, they would have lived in you as drama. Heavy, ceremonial, hard to set down. Instead, they were ordinary. A small remark, a passing kindness, a reminder about the kettle, the keys, the weather. And so they live inside you as ordinary things live, quietly, woven into the rest, hard to separate from the fabric of the days that came before. The ordinary words are not lesser, they are more honest. They are what love looks like most of the time, when it is not on display. A sentence about whether the window is open, a reminder to take the umbrella, a small laugh about nothing in particular, These are the real currency. The big speeches were always the exception, and the ordinary words were always the long, quiet sentence of being known. So if the last thing you said was small, that is not a failure of love. That is love in its working clothes. Love does not always change into its evening dress before it leaves the house. Sometimes it leaves in the same shirt it was wearing all day, and that is not a tragedy. That is what love often looks like when seen from up close. The body, hearing this, may let the breath drop another inch, not because it has been told to, just because it is ready. The belly may rise just slightly under the blanket, the way a slow tide moves under the dark surface of water. There is nothing to time. There is nothing to count. The breath knows its own rhythm, and it has been waiting for you to stop instructing it. You can let it have the night. Think of all the ordinary words you said to that person across a lifetime. The small ones, the thousands of them. The ones about dinner, the ones about errands, the ones about whether the cat needs to come in. The ones that were never going to make it into any letter, any speech, any story. Those words were the long, quiet rope that tied you to one another. The last sentence was just the last bead on that rope. The rope was already long. The rope was already strong. The rope did not depend on the last bead to be a rope. And ropes do not unmake themselves when a bead is added. Ropes do not unmake themselves at all. They get older, they soften, they lie in different parts of the house. But the weave that was made between two people in years of ordinary words does not unmake. It only quiets, it only finds new places to rest. There is a particular tenderness in the smallness of last words. The smaller they were, the more honest they were. The smaller they were, the more they reveal that the love was not made of speeches. The love was made of being there on Tuesdays, in kitchens, in cars, in the small dim rooms where ordinary life happens. The smaller the last words were, the more they say. We were people who lived together in the small ordinary fabric, and the small ordinary fabric was the whole point. If you have been carrying a small wound somewhere in the chest that the last words were not enough, the voice will not argue with the wound. The wound is allowed. The wound has its reasons. The voice will only sit beside the wound, the way one sits beside a small low fire, not to put it out, not to feed it, but only to keep it company until it does what fires do. Fires settle into embers, embers settle into ash. Ash settles into the soft, warm bed of itself. None of that has to be hurried. The small wound in the chest can do its own slow version of that. It can settle in its own way, in its own time, into something that is less sharp, less bright, less urgent. Something that is more like a small, steady warmth than a flame. There is no schedule for this. There is no instruction. It is happening in the slow country of the body, whether or not the mind credits it. The chest is allowed its full, slow breath through all of this. The throat is allowed its full, slow swallow. The hands are allowed to lie open, palms turned slightly upward against the blanket, the way hands rest when they are no longer carrying anything. The hands have been carrying for a long time. They are allowed to lie open now. The chest is allowed to feel that, or not to feel it. There is no test here. There is only the soft, slow company of a voice that is willing to say these things in the dark, in case any of them helps a body lie a little more easily on a pillow it has been pressing against without realizing. There is a porch somewhere in this script, and we are coming to it now. A porch with a light on, not a bright one. The kind of warm yellow light that lives in old fixtures, a small glow against the dark of the yard. The moths drifting around it the way moths do, quiet and slow. The light is left on. Nobody has turned it off. And maybe nobody is coming up the path tonight, and maybe nobody has been coming up the path for some time. There is a habit in us, in the houses we build, to leave a light on for someone. It is one of the oldest small kindnesses we have. A candle in the window, a lamp by the door, a porch light in the dusk. The light says, the way ordinary objects say things, I am here, and the way back is lit. It does not need to be loud. It does not need to be new. It only needs to be on. And sometimes the person we left the light on for is not coming back. Not in the way we meant. The light, in those cases, can begin to feel like a small ache. Every evening, when the switch goes on, the heart turns over once, very gently. The mind says, why am I still doing this? The hand says, I do not know, but I am. There is a slow understanding that can come, somewhere in the small hours of a quiet night like this one, that the light does not have to mean waiting. The light can simply be a light. It can stay on, because warmth is a thing we offer the night, not just a thing we offer a particular person. The porch light can glow for the road, for the moths, for the cat that walks the fence, for nobody in particular, for the simple fact that darkness is softer when there is a small yellow square against it. The light does not need an arrival to justify itself. It does not need a return to make sense of it being on. It is allowed to be lit for its own quiet reason. And if you have been carrying, somewhere in the chest, the worry that you are still leaving the light on for someone who is not coming, you are allowed, in this hour, to let the light be a light. Just that. Just a small yellow glow against a soft dark. Not a question, not a wound. A light. The limbs may grow heavier as this settles in. The arms may become a little more honest about how tired they are. The legs may give themselves up to the mattress in a way they had been politely declining to do. The mattress is willing. The blanket is willing. None of them are keeping score. There is a small ritual in many old houses that involves checking the porch light before bed. A hand on the switch. A glance through the small pane of glass beside the door. A small private thought about whoever might be out there in the night. It is not a religious ritual. It is more like a habit, the way certain habits become a quiet language between the soul and the dark. The body has been doing that somewhere inside you. Checking the small interior porch light. Glancing through the small interior pane, holding, very gently, the small private thought. The body can let the ritual go soft tonight. The light is on. The pane is clear. The thought is held, in its small, careful way, somewhere kind. The hand on the switch can rest. The eye at the pane can rest. The small private thought can stay where it is, warm and small, without the body needing to keep its quiet vigil any longer. There is, in the way the night moves through a house, a slow, careful undoing of the day. The chairs have stopped being sat in. The cups have stopped being lifted. The doors have stopped being opened. The house is quietly setting itself down, the way a horse sets itself down in a soft field at the end of a long day, by very small, slow degrees, until the whole great body of it is finally lying still in the dark grass. The house you are in, the house you are imagining, is doing the same. It is setting itself down. You are allowed to set down inside it. The pillow has the warm shape of your head in it now. The blanket has the warm shape of your body in it now. The mattress has accepted fully the weight of you. None of these things were ever reluctant. They were only waiting for you to be willing to let them do their work. They are doing it now. They will keep doing it. The doing is not yours to supervise. There is a quiet wisdom in old houses, in the way they keep lights on, in the way they keep coats hung by the door, in the way they keep the chair angled where it always was. The house is not waiting exactly. The house is remembering in the only language it has, which is the language of small, unmoved things. The cup on the shelf is a kind of remembering. The shoe by the bench is a kind of remembering. None of these things have to be moved tonight. We sometimes think we have to rearrange the house to be done with grief. We think we have to put the coat away, take down the photograph, switch off the porch light in order to prove to ourselves or to anyone else that the goodbye has been accepted. But the house does not work that way, and neither does the heart. The acceptance, when it comes, does not always come through movement. Sometimes it comes through allowing the unmoved things to stay unmoved, while the meaning of them changes very slowly underneath. The coat by the door in time stops being a held breath. It becomes a coat by the door. The chair angled the way someone left it becomes, in time, simply a chair with its own angle. The porch light becomes a porch light. The objects do not change, but the way they live inside you does, by very small degrees. The way the color of the sky changes between one breath and the next, without you ever catching the exact moment of the shift. You are not being asked to catch any moment of shift tonight. You are not being asked to notice any change. You are only being asked very gently by no one in particular to lie still and let the night do the work it does best, which is the work of softening the edges of things. The light on the porch does not need an answer to keep glowing. It only needs the small current of warmth that comes through it. The current is steady. The light is steady. The night around it is soft. There is something the hands remember that the mind does not always have the language for. The hands remember the weight of another hand. The hands remember the particular warmth of a palm that fit a certain way. The hands remember the small, unconscious gestures, the brush of fingers across the back of a wrist, the way one hand rested on another at the table without thinking, the way a hand was finally let go without ceremony, because letting go did not yet know it was the last letting go. The mind sometimes will insist that the goodbye should have looked a certain way. There should have been a long embrace. There should have been words said with care. There should have been time. But the body has its own account of what happened, and the body's account is often kinder. The body remembers the hand. The body remembers the warmth. The body knows what was true between the two of you. in a language that does not require the right words to be said. A woman named Etty Hillesum, who lived in a very dark time and wrote inside it with a quietness that still feels like a hand placed on the chest, once said something close to this: that what mattered was not the grand gesture, but the small daily attention paid to the life right in front of her. The cup in her hand, the light on the table, the face of the person across from her. She lived in a world where goodbyes were brutal and often final, and her response was to give her full attention to the ordinary minute, the bread, the window, the breath. What she understood, in her gentle, steady way, was that the goodbyes did not begin at the last moment. The goodbyes were happening all along, inside the ordinary attention. Each time you really looked at someone you loved, each time you really felt the warmth of their hand, each time you noticed the particular way they laughed, that was the goodbye, slowly being lived in advance, without anyone needing to call it that, because love that is fully attended to is already complete. It is not waiting for a final ceremony to be done. The hand that let go without ceremony in your story was not failing. It was finishing what it had been doing all along. It was letting go the way hands always let go, 1,000 times a day, when they reach for the next thing, the next moment, the next ordinary task. The hand did not know it was the last time. The hand was only doing what hands do, which is to release one thing in order to be open for the next. The body softens hearing this. The shoulders, which had been keeping a small monument to the wrong kind of goodbye, the one with the long embrace, the right words, the ceremony, can let that monument soften. There is another goodbye that was always happening underneath, the slow daily one. That one was complete. That one finished itself, breath by breath, day by day, without needing a single dramatic moment to make it true. The breath lengthens without asking anyone's permission. The chest rises with a little more room. The belly under the blanket feels less held. There is a softness in the limbs that is not sleep yet, but is already on the road to sleep. The road is gentle. The road is dark. The road does not ask you to walk it. The road is what you are lying on. Etty Hillesum wrote, in her small, clean way, that one could be capable of bearing the heaviness of any life if one simply stayed close to the small things one loved. The bowl on the table, the cup of tea in the morning, the branch outside the window. She did not say it as a slogan. She said it as a quiet, practical truth she had tested in the dark. And what she meant, in a way that has not aged, is that the ordinary attention is itself the antidote to the worst kinds of farewells. The ordinary attention is the form of love that survives. If, between you and the one you have lost, there was a long history of ordinary attention, the cup, the bowl, the branch, the laugh, then there was always a quiet thread of completion running through the whole of it. The last moment did not have to carry the whole weight of completion. The completion had been happening quietly in every ordinary breath of attention you had ever offered one another. The thread does not unspool because the last knot was tied without warning. The thread is still woven through everything you ever did together. The hands, hearing this, may already be a little softer against the blanket. The fingers may have stopped their small, unconscious gripping. The thumbs may have come to rest somewhere along the side of the hand instead of curled tight. The wrists may be allowed their full weight. The forearms may have given up their last quiet bracing. None of this has to be checked. None of this has to be done. It either has happened or it will, or it does not need to. All three are welcome. There is, in many of us, a small unsent sentence, the one we did not say, the one that was already half formed in the throat when the conversation ended. Maybe it was a thank you. Maybe it was an apology. Maybe it was a small note about the weather, the way they liked their tea, the funny thing the dog did that morning. Maybe it was 3 words we had said many times before and only realized later we wanted to say one more time. The sentence sits somewhere between the heart and the mouth. It does not go away just because no one is there to receive it. The mind sometimes thinks the way to be done with the sentence is to finally say it, to write the letter, to speak it into the empty room. And sometimes that helps. But sometimes the sentence is not asking to be said. Sometimes the sentence is only asking to be allowed to stay unsent, allowed to live where it lives, in the chest, in the throat, in the small, soft place between thought and breath. The sentence does not need to be finished to have meant something. The sentence does not need to arrive to be true. There is a letter somewhere that was never finished, folded anyway, slipped into a drawer, found years later with the ink half formed at the bottom of the page. The letter does not feel like a failure when it is found. The letter feels like a quiet, small witness that someone was trying to say something, and the trying itself was a form of love. The unsent sentence is the same. It was the trying. It was the trying that mattered. The trying was the love, in its working clothes before it had time to put on its evening dress. There is a strange release in this, the release of needing the words to have arrived, the release of needing the goodbye to have been heard. The thing you were trying to say was felt, in a way the mind cannot always trace. The way 2 people who lived in close attention to each other often felt things without needing them said. The unsent sentence may have been received in the only way it could be, quietly, underneath, in the steady, small music of attention. You can let the sentence stay unfinished tonight. There is no pressure to send it now. There is no pressure to put it down somewhere final. It can simply live where it lives. It can be a small, folded thing in the drawer of the chest. The drawer can stay closed. The sentence can stay safe inside it. There are many such drawers in the chest. Some of them have been there since childhood. Some of them have small, folded things in them that no one has looked at in years. None of them is wrong to be closed. None of them is wrong to be opened, either on a different night. Tonight, they are all allowed to stay as they are. The chest is not a museum that has to be curated. The chest is more like an old wooden bureau with many small drawers, and the drawers can be in whatever state they happen to be in, and the bureau will still be the bureau. There is, in the chest, a small drawer that holds the unsent sentence we have been talking about. There is, beside it, perhaps, a small drawer that holds an old kindness someone showed you that you never got to thank them for. There is, beside that, perhaps, a small drawer that holds a small private apology you never delivered. There is, somewhere lower in the bureau, perhaps, a small drawer that holds a particular afternoon you would not want to give up to anyone. None of these are problems. They are the contents of a bureau that has been used by a real person living a real life for a real long time. The bureau is allowed to be full. The voice is not going to open any of these drawers tonight. The voice is not going to ask you to inventory them. The voice is only going to sit in the room with the bureau, the way one sits in a room with a piece of furniture one has lived with for a long time, with a quiet kind of fondness for it, without any need to do anything to it. The bureau is welcome. The drawers are welcome. The contents are welcome. The breath continues in its slow way. The chest is allowed its slow rise. The chest is allowed its slow fall. The drawers stay closed. The bureau stays in its corner. The room stays dim. The voice stays nearby. None of it is asked to do more than it is doing. There is a slow, soft truth that sometimes only the small hours can say. The truth is that the people we have loved are still woven into us in a way that does not depend on whether they are still in the world. The weaving was done in the long, ordinary days. The weaving cannot be undone by a single afternoon. The weaving is the thing we are made of. We carry them, not as wounds, not as questions, but as a quiet pattern in the cloth of who we are. That pattern does not fade because the day fades. That pattern is part of how the cloth holds its shape. You may feel, even now, in the dark, a small, soft sense of being woven. A sense that you are not, in fact, a single thread, but a complicated, kindly cloth made of many threads, some of which belong to people who are no longer at the table. That sense is allowed. That sense is welcome. That sense is one of the small, quiet truths that the small hours have always told. Love does not require closure to have been complete. That is one of the things the small hours sometimes teach, when the day has gone quiet enough to hear. Closure is a word the mind likes, because the mind likes things to end neatly. But the heart, the slower heart, knows that love was never a thing with edges. Love was a thing that was woven into the days, into the ordinary attention, into the way two people moved through a kitchen, a hallway, a small life. That weaving does not unweave because one of the people is no longer at the table. The weaving is still there. The weaving is still warm. The body, hearing this, may already be drifting. The thoughts may be thinning, the way bread dough thins under a slow rolling pin. The words from the voice may be losing their distinct shapes, becoming a kind of low, warm hum. That is welcome. That is exactly what is meant to happen. There is no need to follow the meaning of every sentence. The meaning has done its quiet work in the parts of you that needed it. The rest is just the sound of a voice in a room, the way a fire sounds in a hearth, soft, unhurried, not asking to be understood. Some things are not unfinished. They are simply still open, the way a window stays open after the room has gone quiet. The wind moves through. The curtain lifts a little. Nothing has been broken by the openness. The room is still the room. The window is still the window. The openness is just one of the conditions of the room being itself. So, if there is a window in you that you have been trying to close, a conversation, a sentence, a goodbye, you do not need to close it tonight. You can let it be open. You can let the wind move through. You can let the curtain lift very gently in the small breeze of memory. The room is not damaged by that openness. The room is more itself for it. There is a softness in the way certain memories return late in the night, when the day has given up its hard insistence on the present. They do not return as wounds. They return as small visitors, a flicker of a face, a turn of a voice, a particular afternoon, decades old, that suddenly stands clear in the chest for a moment and then drifts again, the way a leaf rests for a moment on the surface of slow water before continuing on. None of these visitors need anything from you. They are just passing through. They are just saying, I was here, I am here, I will keep being here in this soft form for as long as you carry a chest that holds anything at all. There is a slow, soft snowfall feeling that sometimes comes in hours like this one. The memories drift down the way snow drifts down on a quiet street, in no hurry, in no particular order, each flake its own small, private thing. All of them together making the slow, soft accumulation that the morning will find as a single softness on the ground. The mind does not have to sort the flakes. The mind does not have to catch any of them. The mind can just watch them drift the way one watches snow through a dark window, with a kind of quiet wondering at how something so small and slow can cover so much. The chest, watching that snow, may grow soft in a particular way. The soft way that hearts grow when they are being kind to themselves about the things they have carried. The chest is allowed that softness. The chest has earned that softness. The chest has been a faithful small lantern lit through long winters, and the lantern is allowed to rest at last beside the slow, steady fire of the breath. You may feel in this part of the hour that the distinction between you and the room has started to blur a little. The edge of your skin is no longer quite where you think it is. The blanket is no longer quite something separate from your body. The voice is no longer quite something separate from the dark. The dark is no longer quite something separate from sleep. All of these soft borders are doing what soft borders do in the late hours. They are quietly disappearing into one another. The disappearing is not a loss. The disappearing is the natural shape of sleep beginning to arrive. The body, when it is moving toward sleep, lets go of all its small, careful borders. The skin softens its claim on where it ends. The mind softens its claim on what it is thinking. The eye softens its claim on what it sees. None of it is being lost. All of it is just being gently undone for a while. The way a knot at the end of the day softens in warm water. You can let them pass through in this hour without trying to hold any of them. The ones that want to stay will stay. The ones that want to drift on will drift on. The choosing is not yours. The body is doing it slowly, quietly, in its own slow country. You can lie here in the soft, slow dark and let the visitors come and go. The eyes may have grown very heavy by now, or they may be only half closed, or they may still be open against the dim outline of the ceiling. None of these is wrong. The eyes will do what eyes do in their own slow time. The voice does not need them shut to keep speaking. The voice would speak to a room of half-closed eyes the same way it speaks to a room of fully closed ones. The voice has been speaking for a long time now, quietly, and the speaking is not for the eyes anyway. The speaking is for whatever quiet part of you is just under the surface, the part that hears voices the way the ground hears rain, without doing anything in particular about it. We are slowly coming back in this hour to the things we began with. The coat by the door, the chair angled where someone left it, the light by the entrance. These were the first images we offered the voice, and they have been waiting patiently for us to return to them. The way the small, unmoved things of a house wait, without resentment, without insistence, for us to come back to them when we are ready. The coat by the door is still there, but it is not the same coat it was in the opening of this hour. Or rather, the coat has not changed, but the way it lives inside you has. It is less sharp now, less of a question, more of a presence. The sleeve, the cuff, the soft shape of the shoulder. These are no longer a kind of injury. They are something closer to a small, steady company. The coat is allowed to be a coat. It does not have to mean anything in particular. It can simply hang there in its quiet way, while the rest of the house grows dim. The chair, too, is still there, angled the way it was angled. But the angle is no longer a held breath. It is just an angle. A chair that someone last sat in, the way every chair has been last sat in by someone at some point in its long, quiet life. The chair is not waiting. The chair has been a chair all along. The waiting was in us, and the waiting can begin to put itself down. The door is still half shut, but the door is allowed to be half shut. Doors are often half shut in the houses where people have really lived. They were never meant to be sealed. They were meant to be permeable, to let the next person through, to let the air move, to let the small currents of a household pass between rooms. A half-shut door is not a failure of closure. A half-shut door is the natural shape of a door when a house has been used kindly. You do not have to watch the door tonight. The door is doing fine. It is doing what doors do, which is to be a door. The half-shutness is not a question that needs an answer. The half-shutness is just the way the door is. This evening, in this house, in this hour, there is a small, soft wind moving through the half-shutness. Even now, the wind is not announcing anything. The wind is just the slow shared breath of the house and the night. It passes from the porch to the hallway. It passes the coat on its way through. It moves a little dust along the floor. It finds the small, soft corners where the warm air of the day has gathered, and it mixes that warmth with the cooler air of the dark. The house is breathing in its slow old way, the way old houses breathe. You are breathing along with it without trying. The two breaths are not really separate. They are one slow shared rhythm. The slow shared rhythm has a kind of company in it that the mind does not always notice. The company of being a small breath inside a larger breath. The company of being a small warmth inside a larger warmth. The company of being a small body inside a larger room, inside a larger house, inside a larger night, inside a larger dark. The layers go out and out, soft and slow, and you are held inside all of them, the way a small candle is held inside its small glass, which is held inside its small lantern, which is held inside its small room. There is also a smaller direction the layers go, inward. The breath inside the body inside the slow, steady warmth, the warmth inside the slow, steady drum of the heart, the drum inside the small, soft hum of being alive at all. Each layer smaller, each layer warmer, each layer more your own. You are held outward by the room and inward by the body. The two holdings meet somewhere in the small, soft middle, where you have always lived without quite noticing. That small, soft middle is where the body finally rests, not at the surface, not at the skin, somewhere inside the chest, in the slow, warm place that has been there all along. The body knows the place. The body has gone there many times. The body is going there now in its own slow, patient way, while the room keeps quiet company on the outside, and the breath keeps quiet company on the inside, and you lie between them in the soft, shared dark. There is a particular kindness in being held that way, not by hands, by layers. The night holds the house holds the room holds the bed holds the body holds the breath holds the small, slow warmth that has been with you since you were born. All of it is holding without anyone having to do any of the holding. None of it requires effort. None of it requires attention. The holding is just the way the world is built at this hour, in this dark, in this slow, soft, slow. The body has gone very soft now, if it has been listening. The arms may feel only loosely attached to the rest of you. The legs may feel honest in their weight. The neck is allowed to be heavy. The place where the shoulders meet the neck, that small, soft hinge, is allowed to release whatever it has been holding without you noticing. It has been holding a long time. It can put it down. We were talking a little while ago about the unsent sentence, about how it does not have to be finished. We are coming back to that, not to repeat it, but to settle a little further into it. The unsent sentence can be one of the soft things you keep in the house, like the coat, like the chair, like the porch light. It is not a problem to be solved. It is a small, soft companion, and you are allowed to live alongside it without needing to do anything with it. The same is true of the conversation that ended without telling you it was ending. It is allowed to live inside you as a soft thing, not a wound, not a failure, not a thing that asks for a different ending. Just a conversation that happened, made of the ordinary fabric of the days you shared, complete in its own quiet way, even if it did not look like completion at the time. The mind sometimes wants to assemble a perfect goodbye in retrospect, to go back and place the right words at the end, to imagine the embrace that would have made it feel finished. The voice will not ask you to stop doing that. The mind is allowed its small rehearsals, but the body in this hour can be released from having to participate in them. The body can put down the rehearsal. The body can lie here in the dark and not assemble anything at all. There is nothing being assembled in this room. Nothing being built, nothing being arranged. There is only a voice, a chair, a listener, a blanket, a soft, slow dark, and the night, which is not asking anything. You may already be elsewhere. You may already be somewhere between this room and a small private dark of your own. That is welcome. the voice will stay. The voice does not need you to be following. The voice is happy to keep speaking softly to a room that is now mostly asleep, the way a candle is happy to keep glowing in a room where everyone has gone to bed. The candle does not require an audience. The candle does not require a reason. The candle is doing what candles do, which is to make a small, warm offering to the dark. The voice is doing the same. It is making a small, warm offering to your room, to your pillow, to the soft outline of your shoulder under the blanket. It does not need you to be attentive. It does not need you to remember. It is just a small, warm offering. You can let it be one. The breath has gone slower without your help. The chest is moving in its own time. The belly is rising and falling without your supervision. The body has taken back its own quiet rhythm. That is allowed. That is welcome. That is, in fact, the entire reason we are here. The voice has not been trying to teach you anything. The voice has only been trying to be the kind of company that lets the body remember it knows how to do this. There is a porch light somewhere, still on. It is not waiting. It is just lit. There is a coat by a door, somewhere, still hung. It is not asking. It is just hanging. There is a chair, somewhere, still angled the way it was. It is not held. It is just sitting in its angle, the way chairs do. And there is a sentence, somewhere, still unsent. It is not failing. It is just unsent, the way some sentences are, the way some sentences will always be, the way some sentences perhaps were never meant to leave the chest at all. All of these things in the small house we have been building tonight are allowed to be exactly what they are. None of them are wrong. None of them are unfinished in the way the word unfinished usually means. They are open. The way a window stays open after the room has gone quiet. They are lit. The way a candle stays lit in a room where everyone has gone to bed. They are hung the way coats stay hung, even after the season they belong to has passed. There is a slow recognition in the body that this hour is one of those quiet hours where the world has agreed to be soft. The cars on whatever street is near you, if there are any, are far away. The wind, if there is any, is moving gently against the window. The clock, if there is one in the room, is keeping its time to itself. None of these things are asking you to do anything. They are doing what they always do in this late hour, which is mostly to keep small company with the dark. There is, in many old languages, a word for this particular slice of the night. Not midnight, not dawn, but the long, slow stretch between them where the world is most willing to be quiet. The small hours, some call it. The blue hour, others say, though the blue hour is technically just before dawn. The wolf hour in certain northern countries, though that name carries more weight than this hour deserves. The hour has many names. What it does not have is a hurry. Whatever you call it, the hour will be just as slow. In this hour, the small noises of the world become more clearly themselves. The hum of whatever appliance is on, if any. The slow tick of pipes settling. The far call of a bird that does not know it is the only one calling. The brush of wind against a window pane. The small, unidentifiable sounds that all houses make in the dark and that no one ever quite catalogues. These sounds are not interruptions. They are the slow, steady fabric of the hour. They are doing what small night sounds always do, which is to make the dark feel populated without making it feel loud. You are allowed to be one of the small night sounds in this hour. The slow, soft breath of you against the pillow. The small, quiet shift of cloth as the blanket settles. The slow, soft fact of your own being here in this room at this hour. You are part of the small fabric. You are one of the small night sounds. The dark is glad to have you. You are allowed to be in their company without participating. You are allowed to be one of the quiet things in the room. You are allowed to be the breath under the blanket, the warmth in the shape of the body, the soft, slow weight that the mattress is gladly holding. The mattress does not mind the weight. The mattress is happy in its work. The blanket is happy in its work. The pillow has been waiting all day to do this. There is, in this hour, no shape you have to take. No version of yourself you have to perform. No work to do. No thinking through to finish. No goodbye to assemble. There is only this small, dark room, and the voice, and the soft fact of being lying here in a body that has carried a great deal and is allowed to put it down for a while. There is a slow, soft feeling of being allowed to be unfinished in this hour. We are most of us unfinished. We carry our small undones with us into bed every night, and into bed every night they come, and the bed does not refuse us for it. The bed has held many unfinished people. The bed has never asked any of them to be done. The bed is happy to hold the unfinishedness with you. The bed is, in a way, the small private temple of being allowed to be undone for a few hours. The pillow is part of that. The blanket is part of that. The dark is part of that. The voice in this room is part of that. None of them is going to ask you to be done with anything before sleep. None of them is going to insist that the conversation be closed, that the sentence be sent, that the door be shut, that the light be turned off, that the chair be straightened. All of those things can stay exactly as they are. The bed will hold you anyway. There is a slow truth that lives in beds, and has lived in beds for as long as people have been making beds. The truth is that we come to them undone. We come to them carrying. We come to them with the day still loud in us, the small frustrations still bright, the small sadnesses still warm, the small unsaid things still folded in the throat. And the bed takes us anyway. The bed has been doing that for thousands of years. The bed is, in a way, the small, unsung patron of the human heart. You are in such a bed tonight. The bed is doing its slow work. The bed is taking the weight of you. The bed is taking the weight of what you carried in. The bed does not need to know any of it in detail. The bed only needs to hold. And it is holding. It is holding very well. The coat is still by the door. The light is still on the porch. The chair is still angled. The sentence is still unsent. The hand is still letting go without ceremony, the way it always was. The conversation is still the one it was, made of the ordinary fabric, complete in its own quiet way. None of these things have to be different to let you sleep. None of these things have to be solved. We talked earlier about the body keeping a small light on somewhere in the chest for a return. The pilot light. The small, steady glow that has been listening faithfully for a step on the porch that may not come. That light is still on, in some quiet corner. That is fine. That is allowed. The light can stay on without meaning anything is unfinished. The light can stay on the way the porch light stays on, for warmth, for company, for the simple fact that darkness is softer when there is a small glow in it, not for waiting, just for being lit. The mind, when it loosens, sometimes drifts back to the small, ordinary moments. The way someone laughed at something only they would find funny. The way they always set their cup down a little too close to the edge of the table. The way they hummed without realizing they were humming. The way they looked in the middle of a perfectly ordinary afternoon when they were not aware they were being looked at. These small private snapshots are not wounds. They are gifts. They are the residue of a love that paid attention. The mind can drift among them, the way a hand might drift among smooth stones at the edge of a slow river. Nothing has to be picked up. Nothing has to be kept. There is a kind of intimacy in noticing someone in their ordinary moments. The way they brushed crumbs from a counter. The way they wiped their glasses on the corner of a shirt. The way they tied their shoes, slightly differently than anyone else. The way they paused at a window before walking past it. These were the small private things you knew about them, that no one else may have known, that perhaps even they did not know. Those small private things are still in you. They have not gone anywhere. They are part of the slow, soft fabric of what you carry. That fabric is not heavy. The mind sometimes mistakes such fabric for weight and tries to set it down. But the small, private knowings are not heavy. They are light, the way old soft linen is light. They are part of the breathable cloth of who you are. They do not have to be put down. They are not the wound. They are something more like a small, soft inheritance given to you by someone who lived close enough to be noticed in their ordinary moments. That inheritance is yours. It will stay. It will not weigh you. You may feel somewhere in the soft, slow dark that the chest has grown wider for these small inheritances, that there is, in fact, more room in there than you had remembered. The room was always there. The crowding was a story about the room. The room itself is generous. The room itself has space for all the small private knowings of a long life. The room itself is, in a way, the only place those knowings can live, and the room itself is glad to be their place. The chest, hearing this, may breathe a little more easily. The breath may move with a little more space around it. The space was always there. The fabric was never the obstacle. The obstacle was only the small old story about the fabric. The story is allowed to soften in this hour, the way old stories soften when the room is dim and the voice in it is kind. The body, drifting alongside, may already be very far from this room. The voice will keep speaking quietly anyway. The way a voice keeps speaking quietly in a room where someone has fallen asleep on the couch and no one has the heart to wake them. There is a softness that comes into the limbs around this part of the hour. The kind of softness that is not exactly tiredness. It is more like permission. Permission for the muscles to be muscles instead of holders. Permission for the back to be a back instead of a shelf. Permission for the chest to be a chest instead of a small, careful box for everything that has not yet been said. The chest opens in its small, slow way. Not dramatically, not all at once, just by a fraction. The collarbones soften their angle. The space between them and the throat becomes less narrow. The throat itself, which has been holding the unsent sentence, becomes a throat again, a soft, slow tube through which the breath moves, without insistence, in and out, in its own ancient rhythm. There is a small, soft pulse somewhere behind the ear that may have become noticeable as the room has gone quieter. The small, slow pulse of the blood, doing what blood does in its old, patient circuit through the body. The pulse is not loud. The pulse is not urgent. The pulse is just the slow, steady percussion of being alive. The small drum that has been playing the slow song of you for as long as you have been a body. Nothing has to be done with that drum. The drum has been faithful for many years. The drum is allowed to keep playing softly into the dark. There is also a small, soft warmth where the shoulders meet the neck. That soft hinge has been a kind, quiet witness to so many of your days. It has held the weight of looking, of listening, of leaning toward people you love. It has been the small, careful bridge between the head that thinks and the heart that feels. It has carried both. The hinge is allowed to release whatever last small holding it has. The head is allowed to be entirely the pillow's responsibility. The heart is allowed to be entirely the chest's responsibility. The hinge is allowed to simply be a soft, warm hinge, no longer carrying anyone's weight. The neck behind the hinge may also soften, the long, slow column of the neck, the careful collection of small bones that has been holding the head all day, the small, careful muscles that have been doing the slow, patient work of keeping you upright. None of them needs to keep doing that work tonight. The pillow is doing the work now. The pillow is willing. The pillow is patient. The pillow does not mind taking over. The eyes behind their lids have grown still. They are not searching for anything anymore. They are not scanning the dark for the next image. They are doing what eyes do at the end of a long day, which is mostly resting against the inside of the lids, the way a small, smooth stone rests at the bottom of a quiet pool. We have been speaking in this hour about something that does not have a clean name, the unannounced goodbye, the conversation that ended in ordinary clothes, the light left on for someone who is not coming, the hand that let go without ceremony, the sentence that was never sent. These were the small things we set down on the edge of the bed when we came in. They are still there, on the edge of the bed. They have not gone anywhere. But they are no longer in your arms. They are no longer in your chest. They are over there, small and patient, on the soft edge of the blanket. The voice will sit with them for a while. The voice does not mind. The voice has been doing this kind of company for a long time. While the voice sits with them, you are free to drift wherever the body wants to go. The body has its own night to live. The body is not bound to this room. The body can go where dreams go, where sleep goes, where the small private dark of the inside of the eyelids meets the small private dark of the outside of the room. The two darks meet sometimes very gently, and that meeting is sleep. There is a small, soft place between waking and sleep that some people remember and some people do not. It is not quite either one. It is a slow, soft threshold where the small images of the day begin to drift loose from one another and start to make their own quiet kinds of sense. A face becomes a window becomes a field becomes the long, slow hum of something half-remembered. None of it has to be tracked. None of it has to make ordinary sense. The threshold is allowed to make its own kind of sense, the way the inside of dreams makes its own kind of sense, without needing the daylight rules to apply. You may already be standing somewhere on that threshold, even now. 1 foot in the room, 1 foot in the soft, slow somewhere that the threshold opens onto. That is welcome. That is the natural shape of this hour. The threshold is patient. The threshold is not in a hurry to be crossed. It is happy to hold you on its slow, soft edge for as long as you need. The voice will keep the room company while you stand there. The voice is good at that. The voice has spoken many people into the slow, soft threshold and waited there, patiently, while they crossed. The voice will wait for you in the same way. The voice is not going anywhere. The voice will stay long after the last word that you remember hearing. The dark in this room has begun to feel like a quilt now. Not a thin black sheet, but a heavy, soft quilt of dark, made of many small layers of dark, all of them gentle, all of them warm, all of them stitched together by the slow, patient hands of the night. The quilt is laid over the bed, over the body, over the small fact of you lying here. The quilt is breathable. The quilt is kind. The quilt is asking nothing. You are allowed to be the small, warm body inside the dark quilt. You are allowed to be the small, soft breath inside the small, warm body. You are allowed to be the small, slow thought inside the small, soft breath. And you are allowed to let that small, slow thought become softer still, until it is no longer quite a thought, but only a slow, soft current of being. The porch light somewhere is still on. The coat is still hung by the door. The chair is still in its angle. The half-shut door is still half-shut. The sentence is still unsent. The hand is still releasing. The conversation is still made of its ordinary fabric. None of them are doing anything. They are simply being themselves in the soft, quiet way that things are themselves. When the house has gone dark and the hour has agreed to be slow, there is a small, steady warmth in the chest where the pilot light has been all along. It is not waiting now. It is just warm. It is just the small, soft glow that bodies sometimes have in the quiet hours when the day has finally stopped asking anything of them. You can rest in that warmth. The warmth does not need you to keep it lit. It is lit by something older than you, something that has been keeping bodies warm for a very long time. The breath has slowed even further. The pauses between breaths have grown a little longer. There is nothing wrong with that. The body knows what to do. It has been doing it for as many nights as you have been alive. It has never once needed your help, and it does not need your help now. There is a long, slow descent that the mind makes in hours like this one, from the day's sharp shapes into the soft round ones. The sharp shapes, the conversations, the lists, the small angular worries begin to lose their corners. They become more like clouds. They drift, they merge, they lose interest in being remembered. The mind is allowed to lose interest in remembering them. The night is for letting them drift, not for cataloguing them. There is a slow softening of the day's small grammar in this part of the hour. The sentences that the day was made of begin to lose their punctuation. The commas drop away. The full stops soften into small, slow pauses. The clauses that were so carefully arranged in the head all afternoon begin to fall apart into single soft words, and then those words begin to fall apart into single soft sounds, and then those sounds begin to fall apart into the slow, soft hum of being. The grammar of the day is allowed to come undone. There is no one waiting to grade it. It is the small mercy of the body that it does not require grammar to keep going. The body's grammar is older than language. The body's grammar is the slow rise and fall of the chest, the slow turning of the blood, the slow even drum of the heart, the slow patient firing of the small soft nerves. None of it needs words, none of it needs sentences. The body has been managing perfectly well in the small, low hum of its own ancient grammar, since long before any of us had a word for any of it. The mind, hearing this, may step back from its small, careful work of arranging the day. There is nothing it needs to arrange. There is no one to whom it needs to report. The day is allowed to be the day it was. The mind is allowed to set down its small, careful pen. You may notice, if you notice anything at all, that the words from the voice are beginning to blur a little. The sentences are still sentences, but they are running together in a softer way. You do not have to listen for the meaning anymore. The meaning has done its work. What remains is just the small, quiet music of a voice in a room, the way you might once have fallen asleep in a chair in a kitchen while someone you loved was talking softly to someone else in the next room, and you did not need to know what they were saying. The voice was enough. The voice was company. The voice was the small, warm fact of someone being there. The voice in this room, this hour, is doing the same thing. It is not asking you to understand. It is not asking you to remember. It is just being a voice in the next room. You are allowed to fall asleep in the soft chair of your body while it speaks. You are allowed to drift. You are allowed to be partly here and partly elsewhere. The voice will not be hurt by your drifting. The voice was built for it. The room has become very dim now, even more than it was. The corners are barely corners. The ceiling has gone soft. The walls are more like the idea of walls than walls. The window is the soft outline of a window. The door is the soft outline of a door. The chair, somewhere in the room, is barely a chair. The coat, somewhere by the door, is barely a coat. All the shapes are letting themselves be vague. That vagueness is welcome. The vagueness is part of how the body knows it is safe to drift. When the shapes are sharp, the mind keeps scanning. When the shapes are vague, the mind has nothing to catch on. It can release the small effort of scanning. It can rest in the soft blur. The soft blur is the natural medium of late hours. There is a memory becoming smaller somewhere in you. The memory of the conversation that ended without telling you it was ending. It is becoming smaller, not because it is being erased, but because it is finding its right size. It was very large for a while, because it had not yet been understood. Now, slowly, it is finding the smaller, softer size of something that has been understood as much as understanding is going to do. It is allowed to be small now. The smallness is not a betrayal. The smallness is a kind of arrival. The smallness is also a kind of safety. When a memory is the right size, it can live inside the chest without crowding anything else. It can have its small place, the way a small smooth stone can have its small place on a shelf in a quiet room. The stone is not less important for being small. The stone is just the right size for the shelf. The memory of the unannounced goodbye is becoming the right size for the small shelf in the chest that has been quietly waiting for it. The shelf is welcoming. The shelf is not asking the stone to be anything other than itself. There are many such small stones in the chest by the time a person has lived for a while. Each of them was very large at one time, when it was new. Each of them has, over time, found its right size on the small shelves of the chest. The chest is full of small, smooth stones now, each one quietly itself, each one no longer crowding the others. The chest is a kind of quiet rock garden in this way, a small, careful arrangement of things that have been held long enough to be smoothed by the holding. You may feel, somewhere in the slow dark, the small, soft fact of all those smooth stones in the chest. They are not heavy, they are smooth. They are arranged in a way that the body has worked out slowly over many years without your supervision. The arrangement is sound. The arrangement is yours. The arrangement is allowed to stay exactly as it is tonight. There is a thought folding itself somewhere in you. The thought that you should have known. The thought that you should have said something different. The thought that the goodbye should have looked another way. The thought folds in on itself, the way a sheet of paper folds when it has been held a long time, becoming softer at the creases. The folded thought is not the same shape it was. It fits more easily inside the chest. It takes up less room. There is a question quieting somewhere in you. The question of why it had to end that way. The question of what you would have done if you had known. The questions are not being answered. They are simply quieting, the way questions quiet, when the room becomes too dark for them to stay sharp. They become more like soft hums than sharp asks. The body can rest more easily near a hum than near a question. We were talking about the hand that let go without ceremony. There is a kind of completion in that the mind sometimes misses. The hand was not trying to refuse the goodbye. The hand was finishing what it had always been doing. It had been letting go 1,000 times a day in ordinary ways, all along. The final letting go was just the last of those 1,000. It was made of the same gesture. It was made of the same fabric. If your hand, even now in the dark, opens just a little against the blanket, that is allowed. That is welcome. The hand can release the small grip it has been holding without realizing. The fingers can soften. The palm can become soft and warm against the cloth. The small bones can release the work they have been doing. The hand has done a lot of holding. It can put it down. There is a softness in the back of the hand that wants to be felt. The thin skin there, the small fine hairs, the slow, steady warmth of the blood underneath. The hand is allowed to be felt as a hand again. Not a holder, just a hand. Soft, warm, willing, lying open against the blanket. There is also a small, quiet weight in the palm of the hand, a kind of slow, steady warmth that has nothing to do with what it has held. The palm has its own quiet life. The palm has been the small, soft cup of you for a long time, gathering, releasing, the way palms do. The palm is allowed its rest. The palm is allowed to lie open against the warm, small cloth of the blanket and feel the cloth as cloth without needing to do anything more. The fingers, too, may have softened, the small, private bones of them, the slow, patient sinews, the thin, warm skin, the small, soft pads at the tips, which know more about the world than most other parts of the body in their own quiet way. The fingers are allowed to be only fingers tonight, not the doers, not the typers, not the small, busy attendants of the day, just fingers lying along the warm, small cloth, in the slow dark, in a room that is asking nothing of them. The other hand, too, is allowed to soften. Both hands at once, if they like. Or just one, if the other has its own quiet plan. The body is not under a strict instruction here. The body can do what it likes in the soft quiet of this room. There is something the feet remember as well. The feet remember walking next to someone, the slight matching of pace that happens without anyone deciding. The way two pairs of feet learn each other on a sidewalk, in a hallway, in a slow walk back to the car at the end of an evening. The feet have their own quiet record of being in company with another set of feet. The mind rarely thanks them for it. The feet remember anyway. The feet are allowed to release their own small holding tonight. The toes are allowed to uncurl. The arches are allowed to soften. The heels are allowed to be heavy against the bed. The ankles are allowed to fall slightly outward, the way ankles do when a body has truly given up trying to be alert. None of this is required. It is only allowed. And then there is what the chest remembers, the way another body, leaning briefly against it, felt, the weight, the warmth, the small, steady drum of a heartbeat against yours. The chest remembers that the way a riverbed remembers the river even when the river is somewhere else. The shape is still there. The hollow is still there. The cool, patient stone of it is still there, holding the form of what passed through. The chest does not have to fill that hollow tonight. The chest does not have to find a new river to send through it. The hollow is allowed to be a hollow. Hollows are kind shapes. They hold rain. They hold air. They hold the small, slow weight of being. The chest can be a small, kind hollow tonight, holding only its own breath, and that is enough. The breath fills the hollow gently. The breath does not crash against it. The breath moves like a slow tide moving against a shore that has known many tides. The shore is patient. The shore knows. The shore is not surprised by the slow comings and goings of any one tide. The chest is like that. The chest has known many breaths. The chest is not surprised by this one. And what the back remembers too, the small particular weight of a hand placed there in passing, the casual brush of fingers along the spine in a kitchen, the steady, warm hand of someone who walked behind you and rested their palm for a second between your shoulder blades, the way a friend does, the way someone who loved you did. The back remembers in its long, quiet way. The back has been remembering for as long as you have had a back to be touched. The back is allowed to release its small monument to that touch, not because the touch is being denied, because the touch is being honored differently now. The back is allowed to be a back again. The shoulder blades are allowed to soften toward the bed. The spine is allowed to be a long, soft river of small bones, lying in its own slow valley along the mattress. The valley is welcoming. The valley is not asking anything of the river. The light by the door, the lantern light of the small entryway in the house we have been building, is dimming now. Not going out, just dimming. The voice is letting it dim. The voice is letting the room go a little darker still. There is no rush to total dark. There is only the slow lowering, the slow softening, the slow giving in of light to dark, the way every evening eventually does. The dark, when it is full, is not empty. The dark is full of small kindnesses. The dark is full of the soft breath of the night. The dark is full of the slow weight of the body. The dark is full of the warm, small fact of being held by a room, by a blanket, by a pillow, by a chair drawn up beside the bed in which someone you cannot quite see is sitting quietly, asking nothing of you. There is a slow tidal feeling that sometimes comes in the small hours, when the body has let go of enough of the day to feel its own underwater rhythm. The breath becomes more like a tide than a habit. The chest rises like water rising and falls like water falling, with no will of its own and no need of one. The body remembers in those moments that it has been a tidal thing all along. The blood, the breath, the slow electric pulses underneath. All of it tidal, all of it patient, all of it perfectly capable of carrying you through the dark without needing you to steer. There is a slow, soft truth that goes with this. The truth that you have been carried in this body every night of your life by something older than you. The slow, steady tide of the breath. The slow, steady drum of the heart. The slow, steady warmth of the blood. None of these things you set in motion. None of these things you have to keep going. They were going before you noticed, and they will go on in the soft, slow way they always have, regardless of whether you are paying attention. You are allowed to stop paying attention. The tide will keep coming in. The drum will keep playing. The warmth will keep moving. There is in this a kind of company that is even older than the voice in the room. The company of your own ancient body. The company of the slow, patient mechanism that has been the small, steady house of you since before you had a name. That company does not require any words. That company is built of breath and blood and small, soft electric currents, and it has been with you faithfully through every dark hour of your life, including the ones you do not remember. It is with you now. It is with you here. It is not going anywhere. It is willing, in fact, to do the entirety of the rest of the night without any further help from you. It would prefer even that you stop helping. It would prefer even that you let it have the wheel. It knows the way. It has driven this road many times. There is nothing to steer. There is no shore the breath is trying to reach. The breath is just the breath. It is allowed to move in and out the way water moves in and out in its own slow blue rhythm, while the body lies still on the soft sand of the bed. We come back one more time to the coat by the door. We come back to it because the voice promised at the beginning of this hour that we would, even though the voice did not say so out loud. The coat was the first image. The coat is the last domestic image. The coat is the small, steady witness of this hour, and the voice owes it a quiet return. The coat is still there. It has not moved. The sleeves still hold the soft shape of an arm. The cuff is still turned up. The shoulders of the coat still remember someone. But the coat is no longer a question. The coat is no longer a small held breath in the chest of the house. The coat is just a coat, a familiar piece of cloth, a small soft companion in the hallway, a presence rather than an ache. You do not need to take it down. You do not need to put it away. You do not need to decide anything about it. The coat is welcome to stay. The hook is welcome to hold it. The hallway is welcome to be the hallway it has been, with that coat in it, for as long as it needs to be that hallway. The chair is still angled the way it was. The chair is welcome to stay angled. Chairs sit where they are sat. They do not need to be straightened to make grief make sense. They can be as crooked as they were last left, and the meaning of that crookedness can be softer now than it was. The chair is just a chair. It is allowed to be one. The door is still half shut. The half shut is welcome. The door has been a half-shut door this whole evening, and the world has not ended. The half-shutness is just a fact of the door. The fact does not need to be resolved. There is a slow, soft settling in the body that the voice will not interrupt. The settling does its own work. The voice will only stay nearby, the way one stays nearby a candle that has nearly finished its wick, not to do anything to the candle, but only to keep small company with it while it does what candles do at the end. There is a slow, soft snowfall feeling that may have returned somewhere on the edge of the mind. The slow drift of small, soft thoughts down past the slow, soft window of the inner room. They are not making any particular shape on the ground of the chest. They are just drifting. They are just adding their slow, soft weight to the slow, soft accumulation that the morning will find or not find, depending on whether the morning is the kind of morning that pays attention to such things. None of that is yours to manage. The drift is doing its own slow, soft work. There is a small, unhurried gladness in the body, somewhere underneath everything else, that may have become noticeable in the quiet. Not the loud kind of gladness, the slow kind. The kind that lives in the place behind the sternum, the place behind the ear, the soft, small pulse that is so faithful you almost never thank it. That gladness is there because the body has done its long day, and the body is allowed to lie down, and the body is allowed to be held by the bed, and that is, in some quiet, ancient way, all the body ever wanted. The body is glad to be doing this. The body is glad. There is a quiet truth about goodbyes that may have been waiting under the whole of this hour. The goodbye was always complete. Not because it looked the way you wanted, not because it said the right words, not because the hand let go in the right way, but because the love that was inside the days was already complete, was already woven, was already in the cup, in the chair, in the small daily attentions you both gave to the small daily things. The goodbye did not have to perform completion. It was already completion, in the only language that mattered. The body, hearing this, softens its last small holding. The chest is allowed its full slow rise. The shoulders are allowed their full release. The hands are allowed their full softness against the blanket. There is no last thing that has to be done. There is, in the slow, soft dark, a quiet kindness that the body is finally letting itself receive. The kindness of the pillow under the head, the kindness of the blanket over the shoulder, the kindness of the dark, asking nothing, the kindness of the slow, shared breath of the room, the kindness of the small, soft voice. The body has been receiving these kindnesses all evening, but only now is it really letting them in, the way ground really lets in rain only after a slow, patient hour of falling. The receiving is a kind of small, soft surrender, and the surrender is welcome. There is no part of you that is being asked to perform any further softening. The softening is already happening, has been happening, will keep happening, with or without your supervision. The body is good at this. The body has done this every night of your life, and the body is doing it now in its own slow, patient way, while the voice keeps small, kind company at the edge of the chair. There is a coat by a door. There is a light on a porch. There is a chair angled where it has always been. There is a sentence unsent. There is a hand that let go. There is a conversation that ended in ordinary clothes. All of these things are still there somewhere in the house we have been building tonight. All of them are allowed to stay. The voice has been quiet company. The voice will continue to be quiet company. The voice will not ask you to be awake for any of it. The mind, somewhere along the way, has begun to let go of the small worries it carried in. The list of what was not finished today. The small thing that was said that landed strangely. The small thing that was not said and now sits in the chest. The list is becoming softer, less itemized. The items are blurring together. The list is becoming more like one slow, long sentence than a sequence of separate facts, and the sentence is losing its punctuation, and the sentence is losing the small, hard points of its own commas, and the sentence is becoming a hum. There is a quiet relief in the becoming hum, the relief of not having to keep the list in order. The relief of not having to remember which item came first. The relief of the small, careful arithmetic of the day finally being allowed to add itself to a soft, slow zero. The arithmetic has been kind enough. The arithmetic can rest. The hum that remains is gentler than the arithmetic ever was. The hum, when you listen for it, sounds a little like the slow, soft sound of a fire that has settled into its embers. A small, low, warm sound. A small, low, warm color. Not asking anything. Not announcing anything. Just being a slow, steady warmth at the center of the room. The hum at the center of you is doing the same. It is not asking. It is not announcing. It is just being a slow, steady warmth at the center of the body, and the body is grateful for it. The hum is welcome. The hum is the natural form of thought in this hour. The hum is what the mind sounds like when it has agreed to stop sorting. The hum is what the mind sounds like when it is finally on its way to sleep. There is a softness now in the small hours that we have not described yet, though we have been living inside it for some time. The softness of the air itself. The way air in the deep dark becomes a kind of slow, soft cloth around the body. It moves so quietly you do not feel it as air. You only feel it as the small, steady fact of being held on all sides by something that wants nothing from you. The air in this room is doing that. It is being a slow, soft cloth around the shape of the bed. The cloth does not ask anything. The cloth simply holds. There is, in the way air holds a sleeping body, something close to tenderness, though the air does not know that is what it is doing. The air is just being air. The air is just doing what air does in any room, in any hour, anywhere. But to a body that has finally let itself be held, the air can feel kind. The air can feel like a slow, soft witness. The air can feel like the small, breathable cloth of the night itself, draped gently over the small, breathable cloth of the body, in a slow, soft, layered way that is older than any of us. The breath has slowed even further now. The pauses between breaths have grown a little longer still. The body is no longer in a hurry. The body has not been in a hurry for some time. There is nowhere it needs to go. There is nothing it needs to fetch. There is no one it needs to meet. The body is allowed to be exactly where it is, which is here, in this bed, in this dark, in this slow, soft hour. There is a slow, gentle understanding, settling somewhere in the chest that this is what the whole evening was for. Not for any insight, not for any closure, just for this. Just for the slow, soft fact of being held by the bed, by the dark, by the slow shared breath of the room, by the slow ancient mechanism of the body, by the soft small voice that has been keeping company at the edge of the chair. All of these holdings are doing what holdings do. They are holding. That is all that was ever needed. The bed is patient. The dark is patient. The breath is patient. The voice is patient. The chair is patient. The slow, soft hum is patient. None of them is asking the body to be anywhere other than where it already is. None of them is asking the mind to know anything more than it already knows. The patience is the whole offering. The patience is the whole point. You are inside the patience. You are part of the patience. You are one of the small, soft things the patience is holding tonight, and the patience is glad to be holding you. We sometimes speak about goodbyes as if they had a single moment, a door that closes once with a sound. But the doors of our lives are not built that way. They ease shut over time by very small degrees without anyone's hand on the handle. The door eases shut on its own. It does not need to be pushed. It does not need to be held. It simply finds its slow, soft way to the frame, and when it touches so softly that there is no sound. There is only the small fact that somewhere along the way, the door has come to rest. The door we have been speaking of is doing the same. It is easing shut on its own. Not now, not in this exact second, but in its own slow way, across the soft length of this evening, the next evening, the one after that. The door does not need you to close it. The door does not need a hand on the handle. The door is finding its own way to the frame. There is nothing you need to do in this hour or any other to close the door. The door is closing itself. The closing is gentle. The closing is patient. The closing will not announce itself when it is done. You will only notice at some quiet point that the door has been shut for some time, and that you did not have to do it, and that nothing was lost in the closing. You may already be elsewhere. You may have drifted in this hour into the small private dark that comes before sleep, or into sleep itself. That is welcome. That is welcome. The voice will stay regardless. The voice is not bound to your listening. The voice is only here in the chair drawn up beside the bed, doing the slow, soft work of company, asking nothing further. There is a softness in the room that has nothing to do with the room. There is a softness in the dark that has nothing to do with the dark. There is a softness in the small fact of being a body, lying here in a room in an hour that has agreed to be slow. The softness is doing its own work. The softness is enough. The softness has a slow, quiet hum to it now, like the hum of a fire that has settled, like the hum of an old kettle going still, like the hum of a small room that has finally stopped being asked to do anything. The hum is the natural sound of the night when no one is interfering with it. The hum is the natural sound of the body when no one is interfering with it. The two hums are the same hum. The room and the body have settled into one slow, shared sound. And in that shared sound, there is no one keeping watch. Not the body, not the mind, not the voice. There is only the slow, shared sound, holding everything in it, the way a slow river holds the small stones at its bottom without ever having to count them. The stones are there. The river is there. The river is not counting. The river is just being a river. The coat is by the door. The light is on the porch. The chair is in its angle. The sentence is unsent and safe. The hand has let go in its quiet way. The door is easing shut on its own. None of it asks anything of you. None of it asks anything of you. None of it asks anything of you. The pilot light in the chest is just warm. The honeycomb is full. The rope is long and soft and lying coiled somewhere kind. The letter is folded in its drawer. The window is open. The cloth of air is around the body. The tide of the breath is doing what tides do. None of it needs your help. The small, smooth stones are arranged on their shelves. The small bureau is in its corner. The small wooden drawers are closed. The small private knowings are tucked into the small breathable cloth of who you are. The small, soft snowfall has settled into the slow, soft ground. The small, low fire has settled into its slow, soft embers. The slow, shared hum of the room and the body is just being its slow, shared hum. None of it needs your help. None of it needs your help. None of it needs your help. The voice has said many things in this hour. None of them need to be remembered. They were not for the mind. They were for the soft, slow part of you that hears voices the way the ground hears rain. The ground does not remember the rain in words. The ground remembers the rain in dampness, in slow, soft sinking, in the small, invisible work of softening. That is how the voice has been heard. The work is done. You are allowed to be done listening now. You are allowed to be done following. You are allowed to be done holding. The voice will stay. The voice will stay. The voice will stay. There is a small, soft door, somewhere in the slow, shared dark, easing shut without a hand. The door is doing what doors finally do in their own slow way when no one is watching them. The closing is so gentle it makes no sound. The closing is so patient it asks for nothing. The closing is so kind, it leaves the warm, small light of the porch on, even after the door is fully rested against the frame. The light is allowed to stay on. The door is allowed to be shut. Both of them are allowed to be true at once, in the slow, soft house of this hour. The voice will stay in the chair by the bed for as long as it needs to. The chair is comfortable. The chair has done this many times. The chair does not get tired. The voice will keep speaking softly into a room that is now mostly asleep, the way one keeps speaking softly to a small child who has drifted off mid-sentence without ever quite stopping the story, in case some last small ear is still listening from somewhere. Rest now, in the warm still.